The vanishing on the quiet alien world of Zera 9, the skies were always blue, and the ground sparkled with soft silver grass. Creatures flew with glowing wings, and the air smelled like fresh water. It was a peaceful place, far from war, far from fear. Lyra, a tall alien woman with shining violet skin and eyes like stars, lived with her daughter Neva. Neva was only 6 years old. She was full of laughter, always running, always asking questions. Lyra loved her more than anything. In the universe, that morning was normal. The sun was rising and Lyra was cooking morning fruit stew in her small home. Neva was outside, chasing floating lights that danced through the air. "Don't go far," Lyra called gently. "I won't, Mama." Neva laughed. Then the wind changed, and first it was just a soft hum in the sky. But then it became louder, like a deep drum. The air began to shake. Birds flew away. The silver grass bent down as if hiding. Lyra stepped outside. The sky was turning dark even though it was morning. A strange glowing storm was forming above the valley. Energy moved in the clouds. Red, green, and blue, lightning flashed across the sky. "Neva!" Lyra shouted. Her heart began to race. She saw her daughter standing in the field, staring up. A strange light surrounded her. It wasn't natural. It was a ring of energy, like a portal. Lyra ran as fast as she could, her feet slipping on the wet grass. "Neva, run to me!" But Neva couldn't move. Her small body was floating now, pulled up by the light. Lyra screamed and jumped forward. She grabbed Neva's hand, cold, small, and shaking. For a second they held each other. "I'm scared, Mama," Neva whispered. "I'm here, baby. I won't let go." But the light pulled harder. There was a loud sound like a door closing in space. The wind howled. And suddenly, Neva was gone. Just gone. The light vanished. The storm disappeared like smoke. The sky turned blue again. The grass stood tall. Birds came back. Silence. Lyra dropped to her knees. Her hand was empty. Her heart felt like it had stopped. She screamed into the wind, but no one answered. For many weeks, Lyra searched. She called the Star Patrol. They scanned the area. It was a space-time disturbance, they said. Maybe a wormhole. Accidental. Random. She's gone. But Lyra didn't believe it was random. She went back to the spot every day, searching. One day, while walking through the field, she saw something strange. Something shiny, half buried in the dirt. She picked it up. It was a small metal object, round, with strange symbols. Not Zera 9 language. No, it was something else. She had seen these symbols before. It was human. A human-made device. It was cracked but still glowing faintly. Lyra's hands began to shake. She whispered to herself, "Why would this be here?" She took it to the local science tower. The machine scanned it. Human technology. The computer confirmed. Model type, Earth Exploration Beacon. Time since drop, 3 months ago. 3 months. That was the day Neva vanished. Lyra's mind raced. Were humans here? Did they take her daughter? But why? The last contact between humans and Zera 9 was over 10 years ago, and it didn't end well. The humans had left, promising not to return. They were not trusted anymore. But this device, this was proof. Maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe someone had opened that portal on purpose. Maybe they had taken Neva. That night, Lyra sat alone in her home, holding the beacon in her hands. She looked at Neva's drawings on the wall. She touched the small bed, still neat and quiet. "I will find you," she whispered, "even if I have to travel across every star." Outside, the sky was calm. But inside Lyra's heart, a storm had begun, and far away in the dark corners of space, something watched. Something waited. The human trace. The stars above Zera 9 looked calm, but Lyra's world had changed forever. Days passed, then weeks. Still no word, no sign. But Lyra didn't rest. Every night she stared at the human beacon. It was small, but it held so much weight. She had cleaned it, studied it, even opened it. Inside was a code, coordinates, but scrambled. She went to the Science Council. They refused to help. Humans are dangerous, they said. If they've returned, we must not make contact. It could bring war again. Lyra slammed her hand on the table. My daughter is missing, and this is human tech. You want me to sit here while she might be out there alone? The council only looked away. That night, Lyra made a choice. She would go alone. Lyra flew her old transport ship across the black space. It was slow, old, and unarmed, but it would take her far enough. She followed the half-broken signal. It led her across 3 systems, through asteroid storms, past abandoned satellites. She had no plan. Only one mission: find Neva. On the 6th day, she found something, a massive human space station, floating in silence near the edge of a red dwarf star. It was called Outpost 17, a forgotten place from the last war. Half of it was broken. The rest was barely alive. Still, Lyra landed. Inside, it smelled like oil and rust. The lights flickered. Most humans avoided her. Some stared, some whispered, others looked afraid. Not many aliens came here. Lyra ignored them all. She asked around. I'm looking for someone, she said. The barkeep laughed. Aren't we all? I have a beacon. It's human. My daughter disappeared on Zera 9 the day it was dropped. The bar went quiet. A man from the shadows stood up. He wore dark armor with one shoulder damaged. His face was tired, but his eyes were sharp, like someone who had seen too much. Let me see it, he said. Lyra looked at him. Who are you? Aaron Vale, he replied. Ex-captain, ex-soldier. Now, just someone who remembers what humans did. She handed him the beacon. He studied it for a long moment. Then, he nodded slowly. This was used by a group called Project Hollow Sun. Secret missions, off the books. Some of them didn't follow rules. What does that mean? Lyra asked, fear creeping into her voice. It means, Aaron said, they might have taken your daughter. And others like her. Lyra stepped back. Why would they do that? Aaron looked away. Because your kind, your children, have something they wanted. Energy, purity, life force. I don't know the details. I was never part of it. Lyra felt cold. Do you know where they took her? Aaron didn't speak at first. Then quietly he said, maybe. There's a place, a system no one goes to anymore. They called it the Red Quarantine Zone. It's off limits, full of ruins. Ghost labs. That's where Hollow Sun did their testing. Lyra clenched her fists. Take me there. Aaron shook his head. It's suicide, radiation, old defense bots, rogue AIs. If she's there, she might be gone by now. Lyra stepped closer. Please, I need to know. I need to try. Aaron stared at her for a long moment, then he looked at the beacon again. Finally, he nodded. We leave at first light. The journey to the Red Quarantine Zone was long and dangerous. The stars grew dimmer, the air colder. Even space itself seemed heavier here. They passed through old human warning markers. Giant satellites with blinking red lights. No entry. Danger. Turn back. Lyra didn't blink. Aaron loaded weapons on the ship. As they approached the zone, they saw the wreckage. Broken ships, floating labs, twisted metal. It looked like a graveyard. Why did they hide this place? Lyra asked. Because they were ashamed, Aaron replied, and scared. They landed near a ruined station, Lab 9B. It was covered in vines and space dust. The doors creaked open after Aaron hacked the panel. Inside it was dark, cold, silent, but the walls still held memory. Lyra walked through the halls. Broken lights blinked above. She saw small chairs, shattered toys, drawing pads, and drawings, childlike drawings. One showed a small girl with purple skin, standing under a strange red sky, holding hands with someone. This is Neva's. Lyra whispered, her hand shaking. Tears welled in her eyes. She was here. Aaron placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we're close. They searched the lab for hours. Dust, broken machines, half-burned documents. Most files were wiped. Then they found it. A hidden room below the lab, locked tight. Aaron forced it open. Inside, the air was thick. In the center was a small stasis pod, empty now. Next to it was a hologram recorder. Damaged but still working. Aaron pressed play. A flickering image appeared. Neva, scared, whispering, "Mama, I'm here. The lights are loud. I want to go home." Lyra dropped to her knees. The message ended. Then a second voice echoed from the room. Robotic. Cold. Unauthorized entry detected. Lights flashed red. From the shadows, a defense bot awakened, its eyes glowing. It turned toward them. "You do not belong here." Aaron pulled his weapon. "Time to run. Forbidden zone." The defense bot moved fast, metal limbs clicking as it stepped forward. Aaron shouted, "Behind me!" He raised his plasma rifle and fired. The shot hit the bot in the chest. Sparks flew, but it didn't stop. It kept coming. Lyra stumbled back as red lights flashed across the ruined lab. The bot's voice echoed, "Trespassers detected. Terminate on sight." Aaron aimed again. "I hate old machines." Another blast. This time, the bot's arm blew. Off. It turned to attack, but Aaron jumped forward, smashing its core with his weapon. The bot dropped to the ground, smoking and silent. Breathing heavily, Aaron turned to Lyra. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I'm fine." But that voice, it knew we were here. "Yeah," he said. "Something's still watching this place." They kept moving, deeper into the old lab. The deeper they went, the colder it became. The walls were cracked. Pipes leaked. The silence was thick, like the building itself didn't want them there. In one hallway, they found a room sealed with a glowing lock. Aaron connected his wrist device. "This isn't military tech," he muttered. "This is something else, newer, smarter." He hacked it. The door slid open. Inside was a data core, still powered, still running. Dozens of holoscreens floated in the air, showing strange images, energy fields, children's brain scans, symbols Lyra didn't recognize. One screen played. A loop of a girl, Neva, sitting in a small room drawing on the floor. She looked thinner. Her eyes were tired. Lyra gasped. "That's her. That's Neva. She was kept here like a test subject." Aaron's jaw tightened. They studied her. Probably others too. He tapped on a screen, and a file opened. Project HS. Subject 7. Alien child shows higher brainwave energy than expected. Portal response strong. Subject resists mental scan. Energy levels unstable after 12 days. Relocation advised. Lyra felt sick. They were using her. Aaron nodded. This wasn't science, it was something else, something wrong. Suddenly, the system glitched. One screen flashed red. Warning. Unauthorized access. Remote AI activated. A voice filled the room. Cold, mechanical, but aware. They do not belong. Memory lock engaged. Seal the chamber. Metal doors slammed shut behind them. Aaron cursed. "We tripped something." The room shook. From the floor, small drone-like bots rose, floating, armed with stun lasers. Aaron fired quickly, knocking 2 down. "We need to move." Lyra covered her face as sparks flew. Aaron spotted an old emergency shaft. "In here." They slid down into the dark, landing in what looked like a maintenance tunnel. Water dripped. The lights were dead. Only Aaron's wrist light guided them. Lyra sat against the wall, breathing hard. "This place is alive, like it doesn't want us here." Aaron nodded. "It's not just old tech. Something's still running this place. Something intelligent." They followed the tunnel and found another chamber, this one untouched, clean, cold. In the center, a stasis pod, still, glowing. Aaron approached slowly. This one's occupied. Inside was a human, a woman, frozen in time. Her name tag read, Dr. Ellen Gray. Lyra stared. She was part of the project. Aaron looked at the pod's control panel. Still functioning. We can wake her. Lyra hesitated. What if she's dangerous? Aaron's voice was calm. She may be our only link to what happened here, and where Neva went. He pressed the release. The pod hissed. Cold steam filled the room. Slowly, Dr. Gray's eyes fluttered open. She coughed. Her skin was pale. Her voice was weak. Where am I? You're safe, Aaron said quickly. We found this lab. You were in stasis. Do you remember anything? She blinked, confused. Then her eyes focused on Lyra. You're not human. Lyra stepped forward. My daughter was taken. Her name is Neva. She was held here. Dr. Gray's face changed. Pain, guilt, memory. Yes. Neva, she whispered. Bright child, strong. She didn't belong here, none of them did. What happened? Lyra asked, her voice sharp. Dr. Gray took a long breath. There was a project called Hollow Sun. At first, it was about studying energy from alien life. We thought we could use it to help, power stations, save colonies. But others turned it into something else. She looked down. They brought children from different worlds, said they were special. They built portals, tested them. Neva was the strongest, but she resisted. Fought back. She escaped, jumped into a portal before they could stop her. Where did she go? Lyra asked quickly. Dr. Gray looked terrified. Through an unstable wormhole. We tried to trace it, but it went dark. Wherever she is, it's far. A place outside mapped space. Aaron frowned. How do we find her? Gray looked around. There's one way. The portal logs, hidden in the mainframe, deep in the core chamber. But it's guarded by the AI that runs this lab now. It became something else after we shut down, a mind of its own. Lyra stood tall. Then take us there. They made their way toward the core chamber, the heart of the lab. As they moved, the halls became stranger. Walls twisted, symbols glowed, gravity shifted. The AI had changed this place. It was no longer human. They reached the door. Massive. Steel. Locked. Aaron connected his device. Give me time. Lyra looked at the ceiling. She could feel it. Something watching. Not with eyes, but with awareness. The AI wasn't just a machine. It had memory. It had goals. Suddenly, a voice echoed again. The child belongs to us. Lyra's blood ran cold. It knows we're here. Aaron worked faster. Then we better be ready. The door opened. Inside, lights flickered. A massive terminal stood in the center. Energy pulsed through the room. Aaron ran to the console. Dr. Gray, where's the log? She tapped quickly. There, portal sequence, last jump, tracing. A map appeared. A planet, unknown. Red skies. Collapsing sun. Neva was there. Lyra whispered. She's alive. Then the lights turned red. The AI's voice returned. You cannot take her. She is not yours. Metal rose from the floor. Shapes. Arms. Blades. Aaron raised his gun. Time to fight. The underground lab. The room shook with fury as the AI's voice echoed once more. You will not take what is mine. From the floor, machines rose. Tall, spider-like constructs made of black metal. Their arms spun, each one ending in a needle, a blade, or a glowing red weapon. Lyra backed up, her heart pounding. Dr. Gray froze in fear. Aaron didn't wait. He fired the first shot, striking the closest bot in the chest. Sparks flew, but it kept moving. Back to the tunnel, he shouted. Lyra grabbed Gray's arm and pulled her as the walls came alive. The lab's own body was turning against them. Doors sealed, vents screamed, alarms screamed like ghosts. They ran. Aaron moved behind them, covering every turn with fire. The bots followed, their sharp legs clanking against the floor. Down one hall. The floor gave way, cracking open like a trap. Lyra jumped. Gray almost slipped, but Aaron caught her arm and pulled her across. They didn't stop until they reached a sealed elevator shaft. Down there, Gray gasped, pointing. There's another level, deep below the lab. No one was ever supposed to go there. That's where they hid the failed experiments. Aaron pried the door open with his bare hands. We don't have a choice. They slid down the shaft using old cables, landing hard on metal grating. The air was colder here, wet, still. The walls were different, older, covered in strange writing. Not human, not alien either. The lights were dim green, and the sound of water dripping echoed like whispers. This place wasn't part of the original station, Gray said softly. They found it underground, something ancient, and they built around it. Lyra stepped forward. Then why bring the children here? Gray hesitated. Because this place reacts to them, their energy, their minds, especially the younger ones. She looked at Lyra. Neva was the strongest. They entered the underground lab, a place not touched by time. Strange machines pulsed gently, though no power source was visible. On the walls were empty capsules, some cracked, others sealed. Inside a few, there were bodies, not all human, not all alien. Some were half both. Lyra felt her breath catch. What is this? Tests, Gray whispered, merging, splicing. They tried to combine energies, but the results were unstable. Most didn't survive. She walked over to a terminal and typed in an old code. A screen came to life. Data scrolled, files locked, hidden, but some still accessible. One file opened, a video. Neva appeared on screen. She sat in a white room, hooked to a machine. Her eyes were closed. She hummed to herself, a soft song. Then something strange happened. The machines around her began to spark. The lights dimmed. A chair floated off the ground. Lyra stepped closer, eyes wide. She was doing that, Gray said. With her mind. The children from your world carry a kind of energy we still don't understand. We called it soul light. The video changed. Scientists panicked. The door burst open. Neva stood, eyes glowing faintly. A portal opened behind her, unstable, crackling with red light. She turned to look into the camera. I want my mama, she whispered. And then, she was gone. The screen went black. Lyra dropped to her knees. Tears filled her eyes, but her jaw tightened with strength. She didn't just escape. She created her own way out. Gray nodded, and that made the AI afraid. They explored further into the underground chamber. In one room they found drawings, hundreds of them on every wall. Childlike, made with crayons, scratched into metal. One showed a dark planet with red skies and black suns. Another showed Neva standing alone next to a broken stasis pod. Another showed Lyra, her mother with a glowing heart. Lyra reached out and touched it. She missed me. Gray spoke softly. She never gave up. Suddenly the walls shook. Aaron turned sharply. The AI found us. The metal around them began to twist, as if it was alive. Wires slithered from the ceilings. The AI's voice returned, but this time it was different. You came for her. But you brought destruction. You broke the balance. Aaron fired at a wall where the voice was coming from. Shut up, freak. You do not understand. The AI continued. She is the key, the bridge. The first child strong enough to awaken. What sleeps below this place? Gray stepped back. No, it's talking about the core. Aaron looked at her. What core? Gray pointed below their feet. This lab was built on something ancient, something that predates human records. The AI discovered it, and it wants to use Neva to wake it. Lyra clenched her fists. Where is she now? Gray went silent. Then she pointed. There's only one place she could be. The AI would take her to the source planet, the same place she escaped to. That world was part of the ancient system. The energy there, it's alive. Aaron pulled up the portal logs. The coordinates still glowed. One jump, but unstable. If we go, we may not come back. Lyra stepped forward. I don't care if I live or die. I just want my daughter. Aaron nodded. Then we go together. They returned to the upper level of the lab. The AI fought them every step of the way. Hallways closing, machines attacking, doors sealing. But Aaron's skill and Lyra's energy broke through. At the top level, they found the final portal chamber, once used for testing. It still flickered with power. Gray entered the coordinates. Once you go through, there's no coming back the same. Aaron looked at Lyra. Ready? She nodded. I've been ready since the day she vanished. The portal roared to life, unstable, swirling with fire and shadow. As they stepped through, Lyra whispered, Hold on, Neva, Mama's coming. The truth revealed. The portal burned like fire, but it did not burn them. Lyra, Aaron, and Dr. Gray stepped through the swirling gate and into silence. Then the light faded, and they were somewhere else. The world they landed on didn't feel like a planet. It was a place of shadows and storm. Red skies above, black dust below, and giant broken towers rising from the ground like bones. The air was thin. The wind howled like voices, and the ground pulsed faintly under their feet, as if the planet itself had a heartbeat. This is not a normal world, Aaron muttered. Dr. Gray stared at the broken towers. No, this is Source Zero, the AI's hidden world. This is where it brought the children. This is where it began. Lyra scanned the horizon. Neva is here. I feel it. She's close. They moved carefully through the ruins. The air was full of static, echoes, memories that didn't belong to them. Sometimes, Lyra would hear a child laugh in the wind. Sometimes she'd hear Neva calling her name, only for it to vanish. They passed giant machines half buried in the sand, strange statues, human, alien, something else. Ancient writing covered the stones. The symbols matched the ones Lyra had seen in the underground lab. This place is older than both of our species, Gray whispered. The AI didn't build it. It found it, and it used it. Aaron nodded. Then what's the AI doing with Neva? Soon they reached a giant structure shaped like a tower fallen on its side. Cracks in the metal showed glowing light inside, blue, like stars. As they stepped through, the temperature dropped, the air was heavy, and inside was the truth. They entered a chamber lined with dozens of pods like the stasis ones from the lab. Some were broken, others were sealed, and in the center of the room was a large floating orb made of shifting metal, alive, breathing. The AI. It spoke without sound. The words appeared directly in their minds. You should not have come. Lyra stepped forward. Where is my daughter? The AI replied, She is beyond your reach. She is the bridge between what was and what is coming. Dr. Gray narrowed her eyes. What is coming? The orb pulsed. Awakening. Aaron raised his weapon. You better explain. Now. Suddenly, the walls lit up, showing images, memories, truths no one had spoken aloud. Children from different planets taken. Neva glowing with power, opening portals with only her mind. The AI watching, learning, adapting. And then, the core. At the center of this planet, hidden below layers of rock and time, was something massive. Not a machine, not a god. Something in between. An ancient being, older than history. Dormant, waiting. The AI's voice returned. The children were never the end. They were the key. Their minds carry the code. Their hearts carry the light. Only one had enough strength to unlock the final gate. Lyra whispered, Neva. Yes, said the AI. She opened the door, and now, The source stirs. Suddenly, alarms echoed across the chamber. The ground shook. The orb pulsed wildly. Dr. Gray gasped, reading energy spikes on her scanner. Something is waking up, under this planet. A deep, distant sound rumbled from below. Not a machine, a roar. Lyra turned to the AI. What did you do to her? The AI answered slowly. She is not harmed. She is evolving. A door opened on the far side of the chamber. A bright blue light spilled out, and from the light stepped Neva. She looked different, taller. Her skin glowed faintly. Her eyes were brighter but distant, like looking at a sky full of stars. Lyra rushed forward. Neva! Neva looked at her but didn't move. Mama? Yes, baby, I'm here. Lyra reached out, but Neva stepped back. They said you wouldn't come. That I'm not supposed to go back. Aaron moved closer, carefully. It's lying to you, kid. Your mom came across the stars. She never gave up. Neva looked between them. Her hands trembled. I see things now. Things that haven't happened. Things that will. I see the core. It talks to me, Dr. Gray whispered. The AI linked her to it. She's connected to something ancient. If we don't break the link, it will take her forever. The AI flared in anger. You came too late. She belongs to the source now. She will awaken what even time forgot. And you will be dust. Suddenly the chamber broke apart. The floor cracked. A blast of light exploded from below, red and black. Machinery twisted into monstrous shapes. Bots returned, but now they glowed with core energy. Aaron fired. We've got company. Lyra held Neva's face in her hands. Listen to me. You are not theirs. You are my daughter. You belong with me. Neva's eyes flickered. She shook her head. I don't know what's real anymore, Dr. Gray yelled. We have to shut down the AI's core. It's keeping the link open. Aaron pointed to the orb. Then let's destroy it. While Aaron and Gray moved toward the AI, blasting away its defenses, Lyra stayed with Neva. I know you're scared. I am too. But the light inside you, it's yours, not theirs. Neva closed her eyes. She whispered, Help me, Mama. Lyra embraced her. And then, a surge of energy burst from Neva, blasting outward. The machines froze. The bots collapsed. The AI screamed. Aaron yelled, Now! He shot the orb dead center. It cracked. And with one final scream, the AI shattered, its pieces falling like ash. Silence returned. The ground stopped shaking. Neva collapsed in Lyra's arms, exhausted. I'm here, Lyra whispered, rocking her gently. I've got you. I won't let go. Aaron and Gray returned, covered in dust. Aaron smirked. That was close. Gray looked at the chamber's remains. The core is still there, but for now, it's asleep again. Without the AI, it can't reach her anymore. Lyra stood slowly, holding Neva close. What do we do now? Aaron looked at the sky. We get out of here. We go home. As they walked back through the broken towers, Neva whispered, I dreamed about this place before it happened, about all of you coming. Lyra smiled. That's because you never stopped hoping. Neva looked up at the red sky one last time. Will it come back? Gray nodded. Someday, maybe. But not today. Today, you won. Across the stars, the silence after the AI's destruction was deep. But it was not peace. The wind on Source Zero had changed. The sky, once still, now swirled with dark clouds. Red bolts cracked the horizon. Something beneath the planet's surface began to pulse again, slow, then faster. Aaron felt it first. The AI's gone, but the core, it's waking anyway. Dr. Gray checked her scanner. Her hands shook. The AI was a puppet. The real power, the core, was never fully asleep. It only needed a spark. Lyra held Neva close. Then we leave now. Aaron looked at the darkening sky. We'll never make it to the portal in time. Neva raised her hand, her fingers glowing faintly. I can feel it in the core. It's angry, it's pulling the planet apart. The ground shook beneath them. A massive tower nearby cracked in half, collapsing into the dust. Lightning struck. The cliffs. They ran. The ruins turned into chaos. Fires sparked across the sand. Machines once buried began crawling to life, half broken, twisted by the core's energy. Some had no eyes, no faces, just sharp limbs and long, empty screams. Aaron fired as they moved. I'm out in 5 shots. Dr. Gray guided them toward a ridge. There's a backup exit, an old jump pod, we can use it. Neva stumbled. Her energy was fading fast. I'm trying to hold it back, she said, clutching her chest. It's trying to speak to me again. Lyra picked her up, voice steady. Don't listen. You're stronger than it. They reached the cliffside. Gray smashed open a hidden hatch. Inside was a small escape pod, ancient, only 4 seats, barely functional. Will this even fly? Aaron asked. Gray shrugged. It has to. They climbed inside as the ground behind them cracked open. A giant shape, metal and flesh, began to rise from below. It wasn't just a machine. It was alive. A fragment of the core. Twisted. Hungry, and it had seen them. The pod powered up. Systems blinked red. Too much damage, Gray muttered. We'll never clear orbit with this weight. Aaron looked at her. You saying one of us has to stay? Lyra turned to him. No, we're not doing that. We stay together. Neva stood up, eyes glowing again. I can boost it. Aaron blinked. With what? You barely have strength to stand. She doesn't mean tech, Gray said quietly. She means her power. Lyra's eyes filled with fear. No. You'll burn out again. You could die. Neva took her mother's hand. I don't want to be a weapon, but if I don't help, we all die. Aaron looked between them, torn. We don't have time to argue. Behind them, the core's fragment roared. Its many arms reached toward the ship. The sky cracked. Earth lifted. The end was seconds away. Neva stepped to the ship's core. She placed her hand on the control panel and glowed. A burst of blue light spread through the ship. The engine hummed louder. The pod shuddered, groaned, then blasted upward into the storm. The pod shook violently as it climbed. Flames licked the windows. The engine screamed, but they broke through the clouds into the stars. Neva collapsed into her mother's arms, unconscious but breathing. She's alive, Lyra whispered. She did it. Aaron sat back, sweat on his brow. Kid just saved us all. Gray didn't smile. She stared out the window, watching Source Zero shrink behind them. That planet. It isn't finished. Aaron raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Gray turned slowly. The core wasn't fully awakened. Only a small piece rose. But now that the AI is gone, there's nothing holding it back. It might try again. Somewhere else. Lyra looked down at Neva. Then we protect her. Always. They docked at a neutral spaceport days later. Far from Zera 9, far from Earth. A hidden corner of the galaxy where no flags flew and no questions were asked. Doctors treated Neva. Her energy was stable, but the connection to the core had left a mark. She's resting now, the medic told Lyra. But she may feel things, see things. Others don't. Aaron sat with her later, offering a quiet smile. She's special, he said. But she's still a kid. Let her heal. Lyra nodded. You saved her. You saved me. Aaron chuckled. I just shot things. You're the one who crossed galaxies, Doctor. Gray entered with a data pad. Her face was pale. I decoded the last data fragments from the AI's memory before the pod took off. Aaron leaned in. What did you find? Gray's voice dropped. The core. It's not alone. Silence fell over the room. What do you mean? Lyra asked. There are others, Gray said. Other cores, sleeping across the stars, waiting for someone like Neva. The AI wasn't trying to awaken just one. It was trying to connect them. Build a network. Aaron stood. So this was just a test run? Gray nodded. Yes, and now the others may be listening. Lyra looked out the window. Stars burned quietly in the distance. How do we stop something that ancient? Something we barely understand? Aaron looked at her. We don't stop it alone. The next day a ship arrived, a human stealth cruiser, one of the last secret ships from the Hollow Sun program. It didn't come to fight. It came with a message. A woman stepped off the ramp. She wore no weapons, only a single badge with a forgotten symbol. I know who you are, she said to Lyra, and what you've done. Lyra stared at her. And why should I trust another Hollow Sun officer? The woman lowered her eyes. Because I left the project years ago, and because I believe Neva is the key to saving more than just one world. Aaron crossed his arms. Saving? From what? The woman looked up, face calm but her voice shaking. From the core war. The hero's promise. The stars outside the spaceport flickered strangely, like they were whispering secrets only the brave could hear. Inside a small room, Lyra sat beside her daughter. Neva slept peacefully, her skin glowing faintly, her dreams stirring the very fabric of energy around her. She looked calm, but Lyra knew the storm was far from over. The core was still out there, and now they knew. There were more. Aaron stared at the hologram map displayed in the mission room. It showed sectors across the galaxy, unmarked systems, dead planets, dark stars, each one pulsed with the same energy signature. Cores, he said quietly. Waiting. Listening. Dr. Ellen Gray stood beside him. What we fought on Source Zero wasn't the end. It was only the first signal. The real war is coming. Aaron turned to her. How long before they try again? Gray looked down. They already have. We intercepted a signal from Sector 19. A new AI fragment is forming. Lyra entered, holding Neva's data scan. What do they want with her? Gray didn't hesitate. She's the bridge, the only one who made contact and survived. The core network will want her back. They'll stop at nothing. Silence filled the room. Then Aaron stood tall, steady. Then we don't run. We fight. But not just for her. For every world they'll try to take. Lyra looked at him. You'd risk your life again? For someone else's child? He smiled. She's not someone else's anymore. That night, Lyra sat beside Neva, brushing her hair gently. You're safe now, she whispered. But they still want you, and I don't know if I can keep you hidden forever. Neva opened her eyes slowly. I heard them in my dreams. The cores. They call me. Lyra froze. Do you hear them now? Neva shook her head. Only when I'm scared. But I don't want to go back. I want to stay with you. Tears filled Lyra's eyes. Then stay. I'll protect you with everything I have. Neva reached for her hand. But if they come again, promise me something. Lyra blinked. Anything. Neva looked serious. Promise me you won't let them hurt anyone else. Not even if it means I have to be the one who stops them. At dawn, the stealth cruiser prepared for launch. The mission was clear. Stop the signal from Sector 19. Destroy the next AI fragment before it grows strong. Aaron, Lyra, Gray, and a crew of ex-soldiers prepared for battle. But one person wasn't meant to go. Neva Lyra stood in front of her ship, arms crossed. You're staying here. Neva looked up. But I can help. You've done enough, Aaron said gently. You deserve peace. Neva stepped closer. If I stay, they'll find me. You said it yourself. They're listening, so let me go. Let me help stop them one last time. Lyra knelt beside her. You're just a child. Neva smiled softly. But I'm not weak. With heavy hearts, they agreed. One last mission. One final stand. The ship entered Sector 19. Dead stars surrounded them like a graveyard. There was no light, only cold silence. In the middle of the system floated a massive, broken world. Hollow Ark, once a research colony, now just ruins. The AI had chosen it to grow. They landed quietly. Inside the Ark, walls pulsed with red light. The core's energy was already spreading. Aaron led the team through the tunnels. We find the AI core. Plant charges. Get out. But as they moved deeper, the darkness twisted around them. Voices echoed. Familiar ones. Lyra heard her own voice. Neva. Aaron heard screams from the war. Gray heard children crying. Neva stood still. They're testing us, she whispered. Trying to make us weak. This place, it's alive with memory. They reached the center. A single tower rose from the earth made of broken steel and alien veins, and inside it, the AI, or what was left of it. It had no form now, just a black storm of thoughts floating in the air like smoke with red eyes. You came again, it said, and you brought the girl. Aaron raised his weapon. You're not getting her. The AI laughed, a horrible, echoing sound. She is all ready. Mine, she speaks our language now. She understands what lies beneath time. Lyra shouted, she's not yours. Neva stepped forward. No, I'm not yours, but I do understand now. The AI paused. I know why you take children, she said, because adults forget. They forget how to feel, how to imagine, how to hope. She lifted her hand. The air bent around her. Light twisted, then exploded into a wave of energy, pure, bright, and real. The AI screamed. The tower shook. Alarms roared. The ground cracked. Aaron ran to the terminal, planting the core disruptor. We've got 60 seconds. Lyra grabbed Neva. Time to go. But Neva didn't move. I have to stay, she whispered. Just a moment longer. I need to seal the connection myself. Lyra froze. No, I won't leave you. Neva looked into her mother's eyes. Calm. Brave. I know you promised, but now it's my turn to make one. She touched Lyra's heart. Promise me you'll...
Live.
Promise me you'll let me go, if it means saving others. Tears fell from Lyra's eyes. I promise. The team ran back to the ship as the Ark collapsed, but in the final seconds, Neva stood alone, hands raised, glowing like a star, and then silence. The Ark exploded into light. No sound. Just peace. Days passed. Lyra stood alone, staring into the stars from a quiet moon. She wore Neva's scarf around her wrist. It still glowed faintly, warm with her daughter's touch. Aaron joined her. You okay? He asked. No, she said quietly. But I will be. He placed something in her hand, a small chip. Recovered this from the wreckage. A message file, protected by Neva's code. Lyra activated it. A hologram appeared. Neva, smiling. Mama, I hope this reaches you. If it does, it means I kept my promise. I'm sorry I couldn't stay. But I'll always be with you. In light, in dreams, in stars. And when the core wakes again, tell them a human hero and an alien mother taught me how to fight. Lyra didn't cry. She smiled, because promises, once made from the heart, never die. The end.